Hi, I'm Councilmember Rex Richardson, and I want to check in with you on how we're doing here in our Uptown community. It's been a long time since we've been together for our Uptown Jazz Festival, and I want to take a minute and check in. We're spending a lot more time at home with our families, living, learning, working in the same space. Our homes are doubling as classrooms and workspaces where every member of our family is working in the same space at the same time. Now, it can be challenging, but if your family is anything like mine, then you're working to cherish each other, create memories, and make the best of the situation. And even in the most unprecedented times, we rise to the occasion and help our neighbors meet the needs of our community. Our neighbors have demonstrated strength and resiliency in the most difficult of times. Earlier this year, we learned that the COVID-19 pandemic was here and cases were on the rise. And as we saw the cases begin to grow, the City Council took action, declared a state of emergency, and enacted a safer at home order to slow its spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. We learned that the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic were harder on our most vulnerable communities, seniors, low-income families, and Black and brown communities. So we stepped up and sprung into action. And we set up temporary shelters all over our city, in our parks and our community centers to help people experiencing homelessness. We expanded our testing capacity all over town, including 2 testing facilities right here in North Long Beach. And we worked together with the Center for Economic Inclusion and Bridge Partners to create the In This Together initiative, a partnership to help support our seniors, our most vulnerable residents, make it through the COVID-19 pandemic. And with this initiative, we got busy. We partnered with Organic Harvest Gardens to feed 300 homebound seniors a box of farm fresh vegetables grown right here in North Long Beach each and every week. We partnered with 9 community groups and churches to set up food pantries all over town, feeding 1,000 families per week. We set up drive-through food distributions in partnership with Working Families, in partnership with community groups, Alpha Phi Alpha and the LA Regional Food Bank that serve thousands of families at a time. We partnered with the YMCA and with Long Beach City College to distribute Chromebooks to our preschoolers and to our freshmen heading off to college. And we also partner with LBCEI to set up a hotline to help people stay in their homes that are at risk of foreclosure and eviction. And we placed our attention on helping our small businesses adapt to the social distancing guidelines, our barber shops, our restaurants, and our bodegas. And the results were astounding. The Long Beach Quarterly Economic Report showed that while the economic shutdown slowed down economic progress across town, in North Long Beach we experienced an economic boom with 39% increase in small business revenue. And we also did our part to support workers, renters, and small businesses. Our City Council passed the most comprehensive economic relief package in Southern California. This package included protections for our frontline workers to keep them safe. It had a right to return to work for people who have lost their jobs in the pandemic. We offered loan assistance and grants for small businesses and protections for renters to keep them in their homes. And while dealing with a once-in-a-century global pandemic, we were confronted with yet another crisis, one that's persisted for far too long. On Monday, May 25th, we all witnessed the brutal killing of Mr. George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota. While the pandemic shed light on health disparities facing communities of color, George Floyd's death sounded the alarm on systemic racism and the recurring injustices Black and brown communities face. People took to the streets to demand change, and Long Beach is no exception. On May 31st, Long Beach had an inspirational day and a very difficult night. But the next morning, we stood together. Thousands of us met in downtown, North, Central Long Beach, to fix broken windows, sweep up glass, and clean up our city. And at the very next City Council meeting, we took action to begin the process of dealing with systemic racism in our own communities. We adopted a resolution acknowledging and declaring institutional racism a public health crisis. We embarked on the Framework for Reconciliation in Long Beach, listening and convening with hundreds of members of our local community about actions that we can take to make a safer and more equitable city. And we catalyzed an action plan called the Racial Equity and Reconciliation Initiative, with 107 immediate and long-term actions to change our systems, build accountability and public trust in our police department, reform our police oversight commission, and invest in economic inclusion, health equity, and youth opportunity. And the City Council dedicated $3.2 million in our budget to begin this important work immediately. like creating the new Office of Youth Development, a new health equity center right here in Uptown Long Beach. We also took action by submitting a measure to the ballot this November to tax oil production in our city, potentially adding an additional $1.6 million to support our climate action plan, our youth strategic plan, and health equity. So we've had a very busy year, but our progress in the Uptown community has not missed a beat. And over the past several months, we've made tremendous progress in Uptown, and the Uptown Renaissance continues. After many years, we finally cut the ribbon on our new Houghton Park Community Center. This is the newest, largest, most modern community center within our city, featuring new plazas, community rooms for our teens and seniors, and enhancements for our social hall. These improvements represent $10 million of investment and access to over 25,000 square feet of programmable space. We also partnered with the Long Beach Community Foundation to install the Sound Garden. This is a musical playground for toddler-aged children. It features several different musical instruments for kids to learn and play. We also opened the highly anticipated retail center, Uptown Commons, a new development focused on creating a community gathering space, a public living room, a focal point which brings much needed amenities to our local community. Like the first bank in our district in over 10 years, Chase Bank, a new coffee shop. Uptown Commons has an incredible outdoor space with dining and for meetings, and 4 new restaurants including Oi Asian Fusion, Main Chick, Portside Seafood Company, and Show Me Nudes Ramen Bar. If you haven't had a chance, go check out Uptown Commons. And in addition to the retail and park infrastructure improvements in our community, we finally finished construction on the Atlantic Bridge community, the city's first municipal year-round shelter for people experiencing homelessness. This project eliminates a nuisance liquor store and helps to create real capacity to address homelessness and sets the stage for a comprehensive campus to address the needs of our community. I want to thank the Uptown community, particularly the Hamilton neighborhood, for opening up its doors to make a meaningful difference in the lives of so many residents. And we're also incredibly proud of the progress of Jordan High School, who recently completed its modernization. And so there's so much more to come. In the next year, you'll see progress on exciting projects that'll bring thousands of jobs and new amenities right here to our Uptown community. Projects like the North Long Beach Higher Education Center. This is a project in partnership with Long Beach City College to bring higher education to the North Long Beach community. With developments like the Beat and the Uptown, we're bringing new housing opportunities and new job opportunities in retail to the Atlantic Avenue corridor. We're beginning the design of the Great Artesia Boulevard project. That is a $20 million investment into creating a modern, beautiful, safe, and active Artesia Boulevard corridor. And finally, we are proud to announce a new partnership with Caltrans to build a new park right here in our Uptown community in the 9th District. The 91 Freeway Greenbelt project is a passive park that best redesigns the embankments along the 91 freeway to make it greener, more accessible, and redesign it with park space, open space, and street furniture to meet the needs and desires of our community. I'm proud to say this project is finally fully funded and ready to go. So, these are just a few updates of what's happening in our Uptown community. We are strong, we are resilient, and we're in this together. And as you can see, the state of Uptown is strong. I hope you've enjoyed this. Now, let's get back to the Uptown Jazz Festival.